Okay, hello everyone. In this opportunity, we are going to present to you about our meta question, what is value? So thank you for being here and we hope you enjoy it. So to begin with, we have Carmela and Maria will take you on a journey to economic enlightenment.
We will take you to this Value Econ quest, which is a journey to the enlightenment of economy and value. To begin with, we have a quiz. This quiz is going to be a quiz between Carmela and I to see how much we learned in this pretty meta question. This quiz is to understand how humans, economy, and value works in today's world. So let's start. How is this quiz going to take place? We're gonna give you some examples. You guys can participate too. We're gonna read an example and we're gonna choose between A and B to see which one is the correct answer. Let's start. This first question is about opportunity cost. I'm gonna read it to you. Snow White is having an existential crisis. She doesn't know whether she should stay in her village with her 7 little friends and marry her Prince Charming, or do as her parents say, and leave the village to go to Disney University and follow her career path. What must she do? The first option is A, which is leave her old life behind to pursue her career. The next option is B, stay in the village with the prince, the love of her life. Carmela, which one do you think is correct?
Definitely B.
Why?
Because she needs to be happy and follow her heart.
Yeah, but sometimes love is not the solution, Carmela. As Milton Friedman would say, we have to leave something we value for something even more valuable. In this case, university. We have to leave things behind for the greater good. Snow White has to leave the love of her life to go to university. She will have more opportunities because of this. Now we have choices, and because I got it right and you got it wrong, I'm gonna go again. The question is, Ramon has a party. It's after school. The day before, he goes to his mom and dad to ask them for school lunch money. Her mom says no, yet his dad gives him the money. On whose side are you, mom's or dad's? The mom's side is to give him food instead of money, because the money might be used for something else, in this case, the party. Or option B, which is choose that side and give him money because at the end of the day, no matter what he gives Ramon, he will do whatever he chooses to do.
I think definitely choose that side.
Why?
Because no matter what the dad does, Ramon is gonna do whatever he wants.
Exactly. At times, human nature leads us to prioritize our beliefs and what we think is right, rather than let everybody else choose what they think is right. As Sam from The Invisible Heart said, we may overlook at the fact that individuals are driven by their own desires. In this case, Ramon, regardless of receiving money or lunch, he would have used the money. He would have chose to do whatever he wanted to do. Because you got this one right, you go next.
Okay, so now this question is about incentives. So the problem is that imagine a community that wants to encourage recycling among its residents to reduce waste and conserve resources. The local government decides to implement different incentives to promote recycling behavior. So the first option is that the government collaborates with utility companies to provide discounted rates for households that demonstrate consistent recycling behavior. And residents who recycle regularly may receive reduced rates on their water, electricity, or waste management bills. And the second option is that the government decides to take control of the recycling system in the community, so then the community sees them as an example to follow their great steps. So which option do you think is the best one?
I would think it's option A. I think the government is questionable. I don't think we need the government as an example, Carmela.
Yeah, that's true. The best choice is, of course, A, because if you give incentives to people, they will engage more with the recycling program. But if you think that people are going to take care of the environment just by example, it's completely wrong.
Exactly. Because I got this one right, I go next. Now, we're going to talk about scarcity. The example goes, Andy wants to sell her mother's ring. She is in need of money, and this ring is her last resource. What should Andy do? Keep it or sell it? Option A is sell it to get profit from it. She needs the money now, and money is more important in this situation than her appreciation to the ring. And option B is keep it. The gem in her ring might become rare in a few years. It not only will become scarce, but it has a sentimental value to it, meaning the value might increase and she could sell it for even more.
Definitely B.
Why?
Because I know that he needs the money, but the value of the ring, it's more important.
Exactly. Scarcity tends to elevate both price and sentimental value. Do you remember of the truffle trees from the Lorax?
Yes.
Great. That's a great example. The more rare they became, the more value it increased, not only emotional to the Lorax, but also economically. You
So
go.
this is about private property, and the problem is that there's a lot of traffic in Caracas. A man named Will thinks the best idea is to create private clubs, but the government is against private property. What is the best idea? So the first option is that let an international business do alternative routes as club goods, so people take more care of it and appropriate responsibility. And the second option is that the government should increase taxes so they can pay the cost to fix the poor conditions of the road.
Now this one you will guys answer. Which one do you think is the best answer? Left hand for A and right hand for B. A is this one. Who votes for A? Nicole. And B. Who votes for B? Wilder. Yes, Wilder, I think you're right. Or maybe not.
Okay, so the best choice is option A, because as said in the reading Free to Choose by Milton Friedman, the government intervention could interrupt with a spontaneous order. So option A ensures that the roads will be in good condition and your money is not wasted in corruption or other problems.
That's a little disappointed with. But now we have supply and demand.
Okay, so we have this problem about the government says that the obesity rate has increased in Mexico City and that the amount of bread being sold in the market needs to be regulated. What is the best solution to regulate this issue? So the first option is that create licenses to sell bread, reduce the supply, and your bread will be more expensive because fewer people will make bread and obtaining licenses will be very expensive. And the second option is, of course, create a black market so people can consume products and have access to them even though they are illegal. So which one, Maria?
I honestly think none of them. None of them are good. None of them would function.
Yeah, you're right, because none are right. People will continue to consume regardless, and you cannot decide for them because if they are not aware, nothing you do will help. Besides, trying to regulate the supply and demand of a product won't help because for every demand, there will always be a supply. Many regulations, rather than helping, harm the market and therefore people.
Exactly. Great explanation. Finally, we have subjective value, something really important. I'll read you this question. It goes, Maria and Shurlita enter a camera shop. Maria sees a vintage camera. Shurlita, on the other hand, sees a new released camera that everyone has been talking about. Which one do you think is more valuable? A, which is the vintage camera because it reminds her of the camera her father used when she was a little girl. That camera contains a lot of memories and moments of great sentiment. Or B, which is the new camera because Shurlita wants the best, the highest quality, highest resolution, the one that will come in handy and give her the better results for her job trip. Carmela, which one do you think is right?
I think both are right.
Exactly. Both are correct. One emphasizes sentimental value, while the other focuses on subjective worth. One individual focuses more on the valuable side of her memories, her emotions, everything that reminds her of that camera. The other one does it for her job, something which is also valuable to her, but in a more economic way. Now, part 2. Why this quiz? Value is not only economical, but also human. Economy is not only about profits, numbers, or costs. I would read you this. Economy is fundamental about people, how they work, consume, interact, and thrive. Human decision making is often irrational, emotional, and influenced by psychological factors. While profits, numbers, and costs are also valuable aspects of the economy, they must be understood. within the context of human values, emotions, and well-being.
And then
Everything is about choices.
And then, so economy and behavior are deeply intertwined because they both revolve around choices and decision-making processes that influence the distribution of resources, how individuals and society behave, and ultimately how well-being is achieved. It is crucial to comprehend the element influencing this decision in order to analyze economic phenomena and create successful policies.
Great example, Carmela. And lastly, value is about everything. Economy, your choices, objects, death, friends, money, work, life, and especially you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmela and Maria. So next we have Martin with What Truly Matters.
For those who don't know, my name is Martin. And so, does the pandemic change the perception of values? Before COVID, we had a lot of commodities and things we value. But when COVID hit, it not only affected us, but affected the whole market. Increasing prices and restrictions making it harder for companies to grow. Some struggled to keep up with the lockdown and others did really well, like virtual platforms like Zoom or Uber Eats focusing in our needs. Supermarkets also struggled to keep the shelves with products. Agricultures in Guatemala were not able to sell as much as they did at supermarkets. Increasing prices in a lot of products like hand sanitizers and face masks. The government intervened regulating prices of the masks. The price controls disordered the market signals. The artificial price limits the regulation. The prices limit the products on hand sanitizers, prevent suppliers from increasing the productions or introducing new ideas, provoking scarcity. People start losing their jobs and open new market of homemade small businesses and increasing the demand for remote works. Those were times when the things we thought we value were changing constantly, proving us that value is subjective, depending on time, place, or feelings. Before COVID, traveling and our experiences were highly valuable. During lockdown, it decreased and affected a lot of the market and other countries and Guatemala tourism, being a fundamental pillar of its economy. People start reevaluating the personal values after losing them. Some people start appreciating more loved ones and the time they can spend together. People start appreciating the things in different ways after losing them in the lockdown. But others start appreciating things they already had but did not value as much. In my case, I got more connected with my family. Hard times connects people. Boredom started consuming me, focusing me to find ways to keep myself entertained. Having so much time spared, time became invaluable for me. I did not notice until I got depressed of not doing nothing else than school. There's where creativity came to play. I started to do more projects and of my own and to create more, to know me more. This led me to value myself and capacity. Now I realize that certain values that I had recognized before I had significant influence on my decisions. As I realized how much I value deep connections with others, the significance of community and collaboration became more clear. This insight made me prioritize the things like volunteer and attending to community events, which in the end brought anticipated benefits into my life. I also discovered that several of the values I had previously placed on my importance on, such as material goods, did not give the satisfaction I had hoped for. For instance, pursuing wealth and material things frequently left me feeling dissatisfied and cut off what was really important. I started to prioritize principles like authenticity and personal growth, which improved my sense of purpose and fulfillment in life. I saw a change in perspective on money. I started to value myself more and embrace an abundant mindset. I discovered that I put love and enthusiasm into all I do. Material richness came naturally. This insight fundamentally altered the way that I saw success, highlight the significance of living accordingly to who I am and pursuing the goals in tune with my values. Think of values as an ingredient in a recipe for life. Just as a chef selects finest ingredients to create delicious dishes, we select our values to craft the life we desire. Each value is like a unique ingredient contributing to its own flavor and texture, the final outcome. Some values may be bold and spicy, like passion and courage, while others are subtle and comforting, like kindness and empathy. Just as our chef might adjust the proportion of ingredients to achieve the perfect balance of flavors, We adjust our priorities to choices to align with the values that are most important to us. The choices we make in life are like the dishes we create from the values. By carefully selecting and blending our values, we can create the life that is fulfilling and meaningful and unlikely our own. And thank you.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Next, we have Nicole with how can we find similarities between an ultimate goal in life and economics.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to present to you, for me, how did I came up with the answer, what is value, and how do we value things depending in our experiences, and based on the argument between economics and alpinism, that economists value more mathematical and like a cold mind aspect of value, and alpinism that it focuses more on the personal experimental value of stuff. So we know from economics, like Austrian economics, that value is based on scarcity and based on demand. For example, an item that is, for example, a diamond, is very, very scarce, and we don't have many, and we have so much demand for the diamond that it becomes really, really profitable and also very, very valuable in sense of economical value. Also, we know that value comes from the experience that the person had with the product, and also the experience that it had with the public itself. We know that value in economic terms is also unmeasurable. We cannot know how much a diamond is valuable for someone like me, or for example, a person that searches for gold. We don't know how to measure that. And also, we don't know that same value is going to stay constant throughout the time. And the argument itself for value is that value is immeasurable and it's impossible to know exactly what, how much, and how did we became to experience it for us to value it. So our goal is always value, right? Like search a value in life, search something that we know that is going to make our lives the fullest, make our life more comfortable and more better than it is. And sometimes those things that make that gives value to us may cause some kind of uncomfort that other people might see, but for us is what is the best. What do I mean by this? Alpinism, for example, is an experience that it gets people pumped up, it gets people excited, it gets the emotion and experience that there's something else. We get, there was an example that we saw a movie that it was called Summit of the Gods. This movie really gave me an example of what actual value is, and it changed my view on what I support in life. For example, there was this journalist that really focused on his work. He was really excited about knowing and getting people to know all alpinists. But there was Habu, an ex-alpinist that refused to get people's eye and get the media to know him, because he thought that there was something else in life more than just material things. And you can see a difference between both of them. For example, Fukamashi, that was the journalist, focuses more on economic value and value of fame and monetary value. The other one focuses more on experience. And when both worlds collide, it was that they both saw that none of those things mattered, that value comes from value comes from what makes you feel alive, and value comes from the sentiment, and that makes the things that you value and the things that you cannot sell so important to you. So in the end, value is just something that is undescribable and measured and is unique to every single experience. And you should never get close up to other experiences, because you may find something that you didn't expect to find. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Up next is Ines with Just a Girl in the World.
Hello everybody, welcome to my MPCafé titled Girl Economy. So there's one thing I know for sure about myself, and that is that I'm just a girl in the world of economy, crushed and destroyed. So I say to this, print more handsome boys, more carrot cake and keychain toys. Let a genie gift me things, and let money grow on trees. And this goes with the concept of Milton Friedman that says that when we have somebody that gives us things constantly, like the government or an entity, we frustrate our initiatives, and it turns out wasteful because we don't have this desire. There's nothing that we want to do because everything's given to us. And I don't want to be blue. I want to rest and relax. I wish to float on a pool. I rather not think about much else at all. Formulas, numbers, and graphs are for old men in suits. Little care did I ever have for such tricky pursuits, because I'm just a girl, you know. I have always had somebody to take care of me. But the world is a hard pill to swallow, and we have to grow up eventually. And now the real world has crept in, and my delights have been crushed. There is no such a thing as handsome boy printers, nor genies in bottles, nor money growing in trees. This is not the way the world works. If we had everything given, if there were genies to give us gifts and monies in trees, no incentive would have been existing, so that we would want to do things or move, right? But yet the fact remains that I still want things and friends and fun for days. And as in the heart, invisible heart, it says, Sam, never underestimate the power of self-interest. We always want things, and the same says Mrs. in human action. We always desire something to improve ourselves or happiness or benefits, right? So wishing, doing, choices, and action. Every day demands great reaction. It's what keeps us moving and the world turning. Economy is what's the world's heart burning. So again, going in the concept of human action, Mises says that we're always acting creatures, right? Every day there's choices, actions, things to do. And it may seem a little bit scary, but that's what keeps the world moving. Even if it seems like small things between choosing what cereal to eat, that is the one thing that we do every single day in this world. No matter how silly, how big or how small, no one can stop you from wanting what you want. Again, a big concept is the subjective value in economy, and something that Mises talks about is the fact that it doesn't really matter what other people think of what someone wants. It only matters what the person that wants it thinks about that. So wish your wishes and choose your choices with no fear of being sucky and no certainty of getting lucky. Life is about risks. Friedman talks about this aspect of risk and being able to take this risk and brace yourself for a sucky result or maybe getting lucky. Because this world will take from you. It's the way it works, all on its own. Better not try to change it or play it alone. Instead, understand it and make it your own. So this big aspect of human cooperation is something that you can see in my little Tetris drawing. We can't really work in this world alone, even if all we care is about ourselves and our interests. Other people will help us get there. And we have no intention of changing it. And if we do, we should stop. Because if we try to change something that we did not create, we did not design, it's just the product of our action, it's probably gonna get really messed up. Demand of this world as much as it demands of you. The world is your oyster, so eat it with boister. If people are gonna always take from you and want something out of you, also ask for things. Ask for what you want. Demand of the world everything that the world demands of you. No one can tell you what truly is treasure. Only you have that measure. Again, only you can tell ourselves, only we can tell ourselves what is the true things that we value in this world. So in this world that offers so vast a selection, I trust myself to make a wise election, to choose myself and to live richly, to find wealth in feeling deeply. And now that we know that this world is full of choices, that may seem scary, but with that overwhelming fear also comes an overwhelming sensation of power. Power to choose, power to fail, power to win and to strive constantly. So aim for that every single day of your life. Thank you.
Finally, we have an action by the billionaires Sebastian, Anikas, and Carla.
So, hi everyone, we are going to present to you the action. Sebastian is going to explain some few things.
This auction will consist of 3 things. Each thing can be bought once, and each gets only one chance to buy it. And we hope everyone participates just by raising your hand when offering. So let's see what the first thing is. A baby pineapple. Starting price, $1. Who gives $1? $1? $2. Who gives $2? $2? $4? $3? $4? Now? $4?
I give $45.
Sold for $45. Congratulations. Now tell us why you bought that.
Okay, it might be seem weird that I bought a pineapple to $25 here in Guatemala, but it makes perfect sense in California. So first, I need to explain some few things. That value is subjective. A good is valuable to the extent that we can satisfy our wants, explained Edward. So because everyone has different wants, we value different things different. So what happened in California? The pineapples are scarce. Because of natural resources, they cannot produce pineapples in quantity. So, but here in Guatemala, we have a great weather, so we produce a lot of pineapples with every kind of shape we have. So they need to satisfy the urgent ones. They need to use transportation, so that auments the price. To explain better, we have marginal utility, which is that more quantity, less value we give, like water, and less quantity, more value we give, like diamond, because they are scarce and are rare. But in sometimes, water will be more valuable because they have a higher utility. An example in real life, we have the toilet paper in pandemic 2020. There was a rumor that the toilet paper was scarce and everyone started buying it, so they start to increase the value of the toilet paper. But that was not the only thing that affected. Another thing that affects the value is the end. As Mrs. explained, value is the importance the ultimate attached to ultimate ends. In this case, in a weird situation, people try to find security in a toilet paper. In the case of the pineapple, I just want to make a cake to eat with my family, but because I live in California, it's so difficult to find a baby pineapple that is so sweet. So the next object, we have a digital dagger for a video game. So the starting price is 25. Who gives 20? 30? Who gives 50? 50? 100? 200? 300.
$1.5 million.
So to $1.5 million. Can you explain us why?
Yes. I've been loving Counter-Strike a lot more right now. Since me and my friends left it for a few weeks and we have come back to the game, I'm having a lot of fun. So I couldn't lose this unique opportunity of getting it and show it to them. So for my case, the Austrian school emphasizes that goods are valued based on how they satisfy subjective preferences. In other words, the value of a good is not determined by any inherent quality it possesses, but rather by the individual's desires and evaluation of its usefulness. More into my knife from a video game, what happened to me is that its value relied on the satisfaction it brings for me to own it during the gameplay, and also the status it gives me among other players because of how lucky you have to be in order to get these knives. And also I'll become famous, not only because of how rare these knives are, but the ridiculous amount of money I've spent on this. And a fun fact is that the last offer in real life for this knife was for $1.2 million. Wow. So it's important to know that goods are not objectively valuable. The value of a good comes from people considering them useful. Also remember that the knife is an item within a video game. So we can say that it has no value outside of the game. Like I cannot bring it into the real world and at least use it for cut my food or something. And also its value is entirely dependent on my subjective preferences. It may have no value outside of the game, but I still value it more than others. Even people within the game might think that it's not like fair paying that amount. And since I've been mentioning preferences, we can see that they are not constant, but rather influenced by a specific time and place. And these preferences can also change because of many factors, such as circumstances, like how I am involved with the game right now, and not only at this moment, but how I've been playing Counter-Strike for so long ago. And I can say how I will feel about this purchase in the future. Maybe I'll be proud of myself or just completely embarrassed. Also, new experiences play a huge role in our preferences. For example, maybe one day I'll get like super mad at the game and delete it, or just find it boring. Also, the other way around, like if the game developers improve the game, maybe the experience will be even better and the value of the knife increase for me. And at that moment, the value of the knife will not be the same as it does for me now. Also, being in different contexts affects our preferences. For example, if I am in debt of money and the only way I can pay my debts is by selling the knife, maybe I will value more paying my debts than the knife. And another context could be people external to video games. They might think that I'm crazy by investing in this, but they are not in my situation. And most importantly, they don't know what it means for me to own this. So let's see what the number 3 is. And it is time. But how can we buy time? Carla, do you have an explanation for this?
Okay, we have as a last word, it's time. Time we cannot buy like in a monetary way, and it's considered like a scarce wood. First, let's talk about subjectivity again. Subjectivity plays an important role when we make decisions in any stuff, and also a value a wood more than another people. One person can value more a wood or the time, in this case, more than another person. Also, valuation and utility for usefulness is like a two important aspects for subjectivity. For example, one person can use the time like in a best way, like to another person. And also we have like an example with a graphic, and it's the marginal utility. When we talk about marginal utility, it's when we have a high quantity of a wood, our level of satisfaction will be lower. And in the contrary, when we have a lower quantity of a wood, our level of satisfaction will be higher. In the space that our satisfaction increase is when we have a lower quantity of a wood. And on the other hand, we have like the other graphic, it's when our satisfaction goes lower when we have like an amount quantity of a wood. Also, an important point here, it's that personal individuals, that's why we appreciate scarce woods. For example, life, people, relationships, and that is time. So this is the end of our action.
Okay, so conclusion now. Why we decide to make an action? The reason is because an action is a great representation of about why value is subjective, because we can see as the buyers indicate the value, expecting a certain amount of money related to the object, they see how the price increased a lot in the circumstances. Why we include the audience? Because to show that in a room filled with people are different preference perspectives, because each people value the object differently because of experiences in life and so on. Also, as Murray Rothbard explained, economics deals with humans who can always change how they react. So we cannot measure value or expect a certain amount of value in the object because we don't know what the people will think. You don't know if you will be hungry, and that's why you have want a pineapple, or you are full, or you are obsessed right now with a video game, so that you value more a knife. So, sorry.
Some other conclusion is that economy and value, it's all about people. And one of the other conclusion is that the high relationship with our personality, satisfaction we have with time, because time makes us look inside ourselves and based on that act. When we have like less time, we act based on that. And also time is considered the scarcest wood because we cannot save it, renew, invest it, or keep it and use it in another situation. And another topic that is important here is the consequences of that we have to consider when we act based on time in this case, and high excess that if we have freedom to act, we have to be responsible for our consequences.
With our three examples, we can see that value depends on scarcity, moments, and emotions. What happened with Annika is that she based her decision on the value of the pineapple based on scarcity, because since there are no pineapples where she comes from. What happened with me is that I was influenced by the moment I am right now with the game. So the value of the knife increased a lot. And what happened with Carla is that her emotional appreciation of her time and her resources made her wait and not make any investment. So for an outcome that could not be convenient for her.
Thank you so much. So this was all about this meta question about what is value. So again, thank you all for being here, and we look forward to seeing you the next time.